Good morning. My name is Gillian Balaban, and I am Governance and Board Liaison at GRI. Welcome to this meeting on the Global Sustainability Standards Board, known by its acronym, the GSSB, held on 11 December 2025. This virtual meeting is being hosted from Amsterdam, the Netherlands. Please note that all public GSSB meetings are being recorded, and you can find the audio recording on the GSSB meeting webpage, along with high-level summaries of previous GSSB meetings. Present from the GRI Secretariat today is Bastien Butt, Chief of Standards. We will now start with a roll call. Anne Lindsay.
Present.
Thank you. Charles Chu.
Present.
Felipe Martinez Rodriguez.
Present.
Galia Tsankova.
Present.
Julia Genuardi.
Present.
Rebecca Coriats.
Present.
Tomu Machiba.
Present.
Susanna Muscat-Gorska.
Present.
And GSSB Chair Carol Adams.
Present.
Thank you, everyone. GSSB member Igazuma Okoroba will join shortly, and GSSB members Anna Nefedova, Chalandra De Silva, Deborah Ing, Jeff Robertson, and Yang Dong sent their apologies. I will now hand over to the chair, Carol Adams.
Thank you very much, Gillian. And a note for all of us that this time of year is perhaps not the best time to schedule a GSSB meeting. I think it's the first time that I recall anyway, that we haven't been quorate. But nevertheless, we can have a good discussion on our work program, and that will be very, very useful. But we will start today by reviewing the action points, because we have already approved the draft summary of the November meeting. We approved that electronically. So going to the action points, there were quite a few added as a result of our November meeting, where we asked for some additional items to go on here. Does anybody have any comments on the action points? Anybody think there's anything missing? I am not seeing any hands or head shakes. So we will move on to an update on policy submissions. Bastian, are you aware of any? No, apparently not. No recent policy submissions. Okay.
No, it's also here, not the season, and good morning, and good night also to some of you. The season for policy submission. So GI has not recently submitted any.
Thank you. And then if we could move on to the quarterly update of the project schedule.
I had just one more item, the item 3, to just acknowledge also on public record that the team has been implementing the alignment changes on the back of the approvals at the last GSSB meeting, and we're presenting a summary of this in item 3.
Okay.
These are non-substantive changes that don't change requirement in the standards, but align contents according to the prior approvals.
Okay, thank you very much. And this does not need to go out to consultation because they're minor changes, and I'm guessing also that we have to approve it for the same reason. Okay, thank you. So if we could move on. And now we get to the quarterly update project schedule. Bastian, I'll hand back to you.
Yes. So in your meeting package, you've seen the quarterly update. This is now the third time that we're providing this based on the new format that was agreed this year. There is from staff side no particular element that we would like to highlight. Maybe just to say that as part of the project schedule discussion for 26, we will have to look at the impacts, risks, and opportunity project, and that has been approved in the second quarter this year. And we have provided an update in the last two project schedule updates that this project is currently not funded. We've not been able to allocate resources to the extent that we can commence the project in the envisioned way with a project lead. We've done some background research and that is progressing, and we've agreed at the last GSB meeting that we will share the outcome of this initial research. We've also agreed that we will, and that was in the action point schedule, a follow-up meeting with our external project partner, the Japanese Sustainability Standards Board, and that is also upcoming.
Okay, thank you. So there will be more discussions with the SSBJ on this, including
Yes.
possibly looking for jointly for resources.
Yeah, we will have the follow-up call with them early next year. That is something that the team is preparing. We're preparing the outcomes of the research that we're also presenting to the GSB in the first quarter next year, and that will be the basis for the call.
Okay, thank you very much. So that takes us on to the did anybody want to make any comments on the project schedule? It's good to see everything going on track or completed. No? Okay, let's move on then to the work program. And this we discussed in November, so this is an updated version. We'll take the paper as read, but Bastian, do you want to just highlight the key changes as a result of the November meeting?
In terms of the paper that is in front of you, there were a couple of elements that we agreed, I think, during the meeting on that were proposed by members. When you look at the layout of it, we've now aimed to clarify that we distinguish between projects that are currently already active and running, and those that are the immediate next priorities, and we're presenting them separately now. We've adjusted the section on the sector program according to the discussions that we had at the last meeting. In particular, the outcome of the discussion regarding the sector format, sector standards format, so the compact standards, so that is updated as well, and also brought in line with the next steps that we're expecting on this. And we've completed the section on the external parties that the GSB envisions to collaborate with, and there was input on that we've brought back into the document. I think these are the main changes that have been implemented for the program next to an editorial review.
Okay, thank you. If we take this section by section, I'd suggest, but first of all, Bastian, can I ask, does this go out with questions, specific questions, when it goes out to consultation? What's the usual way of doing this?
Yes, this has in the past gone out with specific questions, and we have a proposed format on the next slide for that. This is indicative at this moment. We wanted to also invite feedback by the GSSB, but basically there is an open invitation to provide feedback on the proposed priorities, and they invite to indicate whether there's agreement with the outlined priorities. In case there's disagreement, they ask to provide an explanation, and then there are pointed questions regarding other activities, as well as an open invitation to suggest other activities, and that's pretty much in line with how these work program consultations are run when you want to provide an open format. What you also see with some of the peer organizations is that sometimes there is a more focused format of questioning. So assuming that certain things will stay in the work program no matter the public consultation feedback, but there is there's an opportunity for stakeholders to weigh in on the relative priority, so to speak, of the items that are set out in the work program. We've chosen a more open format here as proposed.
Okay, thank you. Let's put that aside for a moment and go through the document and then come back to those questions. If we take the first page, the background information, up to the revision of topic standards, does anybody have any comments on that part? Bearing in mind this is what goes out to the public consultation now? Nope. Okay. And then if we go to the revision of topic standards on pages 1 and 2, this is pretty much unchanged from the November meeting. Are there any further comments on that now? No, this is all work that's currently in progress. And we did vote in November to put that as a priority in terms of our topic standards work, to suggest that would be a priority anyway. Let's then move on to the development of new topic standards. So we've mixed up in this section a proposed new standard on digitalization with standard revisions. Do people have any comments on that? I presume we will be, one of the questions that we will be asking whether there are any other topics people think should be prioritized.
That is indeed the idea. Maybe just to explain the table that is here, what we said at the meeting is that we wanted to set out in a table the projects, and I think that the title of the table also refers to that, that are not active right now, but are considered as immediate next priorities for commencement by the GSSB. So to separate out one table where we have active projects and one where we have either new topics or revisions that we see as immediate next priorities. That was the intent behind the table.
Okay. Anybody got any comments on that proposal to combine the revisions of existing topics with any proposed new topics here? Bastian, in the second row of table 2, it refers to alignment of environmental impact standards. Should we clarify with what we mean by alignment?
Yes, we can. We had referred to it earlier as basically the work that is resulting from having introduced in sequence climate, then biodiversity and the pollution, and then knock-on effects on other existing environmental standards. But we can have a look at bringing that also, introducing that wording also earlier, more clearly, so that the link is in the document. We can have a look at that.
So, sorry, what are we actually proposing to align?
So basically we've moved through a sequence of changes in the environmental part of the set of standards, and there are concepts that relate between the different environmental standards, and we haven't reviewed some of those lately. So knock-on effects from the work that we are doing on climate, well, that we have done on climate and biodiversity, that we're currently doing on pollution. And then we're looking at concepts in the remaining environmental standards, basically.
So are we really talking about an update, or are we only aligning concepts?
No, it will be an update because some of the standards haven't been looked at for a while. For example, the material standard. So there's more of an update here. We would anyways bring the scope of this, and we can take different decisions regarding the scope of this work in the future to the GSB.
Okay, maybe the word alignment on that table isn't particularly helpful then, given that I asked a lot
Is
of
there a
questions.
proposal we can call it a review of the
We could just call it environmental impact standards, so it's comparable with the row above.
yeah.
The table talks about updating the standards, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Anybody else got any comments on this section? You might have to say, because I can't see everybody's picture with the slides there. Okay, and then on to development of new sector standards. And the only one we have there is around, new sector standards, sorry, yes. Any comments on this section? I wondered if we might put in a link to the paper on compact sector standards, where we talk about them.
We can of course do that. That would be the paper that we've discussed in
November.
In November, and yeah, we can definitely do that.
Okay.
So that's an action that we take. Yeah.
Are there any other comments from anyone on that section? Okay. And then if we go on to the revision of sector standards, we talk about most disclosures listed in a sector standard are drawn from GRI topic standards. Should we explain that a little bit more? That is at the bottom of page 6. I just wondered whether we perhaps need to take some of the explanation from our November papers in there.
We can take the explanation from the November papers or one of the earlier explanations of the approach taken to the sector standards. We can look at that, and the team can make an amendment accordingly.
Okay, thanks. Any other comments on that part of the paper? No, this is the third time that we've discussed this, so it's not surprising there's not too many comments. If we go on to the section on cooperation with partners, which was a blank in our November paper, we made some suggestions to fill this out. So it would be good to hear from you whether this text meets your expectations from the November discussion. Tomu, I can see a hand.
Oh, yes. And I'm not quite sure whether this is a GSSB's law, but I think I wish to raise the issue of more presentation or digital presentation of the standards. And because also, we XBRL and the PDF available, but same time, it's like a people feeling we provide too much stuff. And so I wonder we could make, for instance, providing the materiality assessment tool, then based on materiality, and then automatically drawing the necessary standards the company have to look at, instead of they have to go through all the information, which could be repetitive, for instance. That
Yeah.
sort of discussion is, I don't know the scope of GSSB or more like communication stuff, but maybe also we should provide some input to it.
Yes, as an important issue. Bastian, do you know if that's one of the topics that's planned to be taken up in the GRI goals for 2026?
So as we discussed before, there is the digital strategy that encompasses also presentation and accessibility of GI contents is a priority for next year. So what I would propose is we can take it into the action items as something that comes from the GSB as input to this. We had a similar example at the last meeting regarding a tool in context of the revised version of the ESRS. And that's something we've taken forward, but I would suggest not to include that in the work program because it is not a deliverable that the GSB will be driving.
Yeah. But I think the question is, yeah, the extent to which it's a priority for GRI.
Well, the only thing I can say right now is that accessibility issue of the contents is something that is discussed, and one thing that is maybe closer to the mandate of the GSB, an input to the budget process and the priorities for next year was also to look at the publishing of the GI standards and how we can enable that in a different way. So these discussions are definitely happening, and I can take that back into the organization.
Okay, thank you. And I think we'd like members would like to be kept up to date with the.
Take that as an action point. Yes.
Thank you. So the section on cooperation with partners is brief, as we highlighted in November. A lot of it is resource dependent, and it does give scope to adapt what we do as needs must, depending on what partners also are prioritizing. Does anybody have any comments on that? No, we'll take that as a no then. And oh, Anne, hello.
Yes, thanks, and thanks, Bastian. I think just to say how important I think this final section is. So although it's brief, I think it places the future work plan very much in the context of both existing processes, but also international bodies that it's vital that GRI does have strong relationships with. So yeah, I also think that including the idea of having the tables in the paper helps with like the readability and understanding. So I think that has strengthened it.
Thank you. Indeed, GRI has also always placed a lot of importance on collaboration to try and increase sustainability reporting capacity around the world and practice. So that's a continuation of something GRI has been doing for a very long time. Shall we move on to the questions then? We'll take it that with those very minor things that we've discussed, a couple of very minor word changes, that we're happy with this paper as is. Can I just check in on that, because this will go out for electronic approval because we don't have a quorum just now. Does anybody have any issues in approving this with those minor amendments? Okay, good. Thank you. We'll
Maybe
expect a positive
before we
vote from
go
everybody on
into,
this call then.
Before we go into the discussing the questions, what we will do is we will summarize the discussion today. We will then make the changes to the document already and
Yeah.
share that for the electronic vote, so that you vote on a revised version should there be changes proposed by the other members that are not present in the call today, then we would basically circle back to the full GSB and ask for approval, including the proposed changes, right? That's so to speed up the process. But this will come back to the full GSSB in a short while with the outcome of today's discussion.
Thank you. If we just go through the questions and then we can talk about next steps. So this is the first time GSSB members are seeing these questions. So we're being asked whether we agree with the outlined priorities. I'm not sure we're really prioritizing. The document doesn't really prioritize amongst the issues listed here, but gives our view on what we think needs to be done going forward. And there's also a question around whether any activities not covered in the work program should be prioritized. So that's an opportunity then for people to suggest different topic standards. They will see the sector proposal priorities, presumably through a link in the paper, because some people may wish to comment on that again. I know it's been out before. And then the first dot point question there is which of the topic standards should we prioritize for review? Now, are we talking there, presumably we're talking there about the ones in table 2?
Now, or beyond that. So the question right now, there was a particular logic behind reviewing existing standards, and the logic that we discussed was to look at the ones that have not been reviewed for a long time, basically since 2016 or earlier, or those that that's the point that we were on earlier, that are affected by recent reviews, right?
I think what I was trying to get at was we're not asking them to prioritize the ones that are already underway in table 1.
No. We're only we're only asking about existing topic standards at large. Well,
Okay.
well, actually, let me clarify that it could very well be that parts of the topics that have been discussed while in the existing projects. No, I don't think. I think existing we can assume that we're covering that well. But what we're referring to is existing topic standards as improved topic standards that exist in the set of standards. Maybe that's something in the language we can
So we can refer to table 2 there as the ones that are haven't yet started being
not in scope of that question. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, and make it clear that table 1 is not in scope of that question, because we agreed in November that that was a priority for us anyway, to finish what we've started. The next point, which other sectors or topics or sectors should we prioritize for the development of new topic standards and the sector program during the period covered by this work program? I don't have an issue with that question. We might want to separate out topics and sectors into different questions, I would suggest. And should we not provide somewhere then the current prioritization of topic standards? So, sorry, sector standards?
Yeah, we have currently the list that was approved, right, in the November meeting. We can give that as a reference for this exercise.
Yeah, I think that might be helpful.
That's something we can do. Yeah.
And Tomu's put in the chat a question that I was also wondering about. Rather than asking open-ended questions, should we be, I'm not sure this is what you meant, Tomo, you can correct me if not, should we be asking them to prioritize or rank or score different options? Is that what you mean by multiple choice? Yes.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
not necessarily rank, but it's like, for instance, existing topic standard, which are not reviewed yet, then better have a list. Otherwise, then people go beyond what, you want to get.
Yeah. We could
And
list
now,
them
like
rank them.
SBTI, GHG protocol, and they are also, providing the choices to answer instead of just, open comments nowadays.
Yeah. We could ask them to rank those.
Yeah. In our experience with the ranking, I'm not sure whether we would get to, because the backgrounds of the stakeholders can be very different,
Very
and some will not
okay.
care
And
about
yes,
the
okay.
totality of it. So that's
Yeah.
but providing the list for both topic standards that have not been reviewed recently, and also the sector list, as we just discussed, that is something that we can do. Just the ranking as in totality is oftentimes inconclusive, because there are some of the stakeholders that we're trying to encourage single issue focused or thematically focused, and they will not have an interest in providing priorities for the longer list.
Okay, thank you very much. And then which other activities or materials should we prioritize with regard to guidance for users of the GRI standards? I think that's a good question. Anybody got any comments on that? Okay, and then the final one, which other activities or materials should we prioritize with regard to cooperation with other standard setting bodies and international organizations? Could get some interesting answers there. Okay, anybody got any further comments on those questions? Okay, so in terms of next steps, as you said, Bastian, you will amend the document and send it out with some notes of this discussion. In terms of and that will have to be approved by an electronic vote. And then we have the consultation questions. Is your intention to circulate an updated version of the questions also?
I think, given where we ended up here with the discussion, it is probably best to also include them already in the document that we're circulating for approval. And then we apply the same approach if there are additional comments from the members that are not present today. Then we will circulate back another updated version to keep the GSB members updated about the final version. But yeah, I would propose that we now move to imply all the changes that were discussed and include the questions in the document for electronic approval.
Okay, thank you very much. Excellent. So with no other comments on that, can we move to the next slide? Is there any other business in the public session? Okay, then we will move to the private session. If I could just ask the directors of standards to stay for the first part of the private session, please, and the governance staff. Thank you very much. And Gillian, you'll tell us when we... Excellent. And are we off YouTube?